everybody. I'm Lorii Abela, your soulmate expert and Asian matchmaker. Welcome to tonight's episode of Matchmaker Secrets, where we talk about love, dating, and relationships. And of course, matchmaking. This is a rare opportunity for us because we'll be speaking to somebody who is a beauty pageant contestant. And she's representing our very own Illinois. And Stacy Villegas was born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. After holding positions at both Stanford School of Medicine and Google, the pivot to Miss USA came as an exciting next chapter. Stacy aims to use her platform to amplify not only the city of Chicago, but humanitarian and philanthropic efforts across the state. So how are you, Stacy?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, great. So we'll start, the ball rolling because I'm sure everybody's wondering like, oh my God, who's that girl? How was your experience as a beauty pageant contestant influence your dating life?
So full transparency, this is actually my first time participating in this. And in the few months I've been able to be part of pageantry, I will say I completely kind of took a step back from dating just because this is in itself almost like a full-time job. But moving forward, I think what it has done for me is I'm not only just looking for a partner, but also somebody to be my partner in life, but also my partner throughout my, philanthropic efforts. And while I go for the Miss USA crown, that's a lot of publicity. So someone who can have grace. And now I'm looking for that more than ever in a partner.
I'm just curious, do you find that men often approach you for your looks rather than for who you are as a person?
I do believe that's kind of the standard experience for any woman. I think now more than ever it's happening a little more often, but I think traditionally, and I'm sure you could attest, Lorii, it happens to almost all of us. I think looks are what draw men in attention initially. So it happens a little more now with the sash. For sure, definitely.
Okay. All right. So, by any chance, do you think, are there any stereotypes about pageant girls that you feel are unfair or misleading in the dating world?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that pageantry is very vain and it is very superficial. When you think about it, you're competing for a beauty pageant. So what could be more vain than that? However, the Miss USA organization, as well as Miss America and other pageants, were actually scholarship programs, and they're not set up to just be about looks. They're set up to be about amplifying women and our futures. And so this pageant not only would help me get more visibility, it would also help me go back to school because, like I said, it's actually it's a scholarship program. So that's the biggest misconception, I would say, is you have to not only be beautiful to be able to participate, but pretty well rounded in terms of like your knowledge on just society, everyday life, politics, and obviously, the city you're from, the state you're from, and eventually, hopefully, the country you're from. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So you talk about education. I was just wondering, what else do you want to pursue?
Well, actually, I, from a very young age, was raised by a single mother. So I didn't get to finish college all the way. And so I would want to finish my bachelor's in communications. That would be my first goal. And then hopefully I will apply to law school one day. And it's starting to feel a lot more realistic because of the opportunity that Miss USA is giving me to hopefully get to go back to school with a scholarship.
Okay. So hopefully we're going to look for the most, beautiful lady from Illinois representing the United States. And hopefully once you become Miss USA, then next you go to law school. And then next thing you know, you're going to be the woman president. Maybe that's the time.
Well, you know what? During this week, that is something that now I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's made for me to get there one day. So it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. You just have to look bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Aim high.
Yeah, that's right. So, do people often assume you're high maintenance, and how do you handle that?
Oh, absolutely. I have been told I've been high maintenance my entire life. And, at this point, I will never say that I'm not, but I maintain myself. So I could be high maintenance, but I also make sure that I'm the one in charge of all of that maintenance. And so it doesn't bother me to be told I'm high maintenance. I know that about myself, and I like that about myself.
Okay, all right. I like that because you acknowledge it. You're accepting that, this is me.
Exactly.
It's either you go with the flow or what. Okay. What qualities do you look for in a partner that go beyond physical attraction?
I think especially right now in the political times that we are I look for a lot of empathy. I think I don't have to agree with everything you say, nor do you have to agree with everything I say, but it says a lot about your character, about how you approach different opinions. And that's something that now I've realized, aside from looks. When I was 20, I used to believe that that was what I wanted, to date the cutest guy, just like anybody. But at the end of the day, I don't care how attractive you are if you don't have basic human empathy. I think that that's really important to me now.
Okay. So when you were growing up, have you ever thought that, you're going to be running for beauty pageant?
No, actually, I was approached a couple times, but like I said, single mom, and I had very little to gamble with in terms of my time. And so my career really took the front seat all of my 20s. And so I never thought I would get into this kind of a circuit, but the Miss USA organization a few years ago decided to remove their age restrictions. And so I became re-eligible. It used to be 26, and now there's no age limit to it. And so it gave me the opportunity to reopen this store that I thought was closed years ago. So no, I didn't think I would be doing it, but here we are. So
Okay.
It all worked out.
So I think like I've seen, they don't have weight restrictions either, right?
They do not have weight restrictions. There's no age restrictions anymore. And the beautiful thing about it is, as well, is you can be, that I know of, is you could also be married or have been divorced. And those are things that before were not allowed. And, with the times that are changing, the Miss USA org has definitely made sure to, follow with that change. And so, like I said, it's why I'm able to do this now at 30. So
So do they provide training for everybody?
Well, the way that they do it, from what I've experienced thus far, is as soon as you're a delegate, so I'm going for Miss Illinois first, you're kind of on your own, and it's just a way to go ahead and work on like networking and also figure out what the causes are important to you. And so at the moment, there is no formal training, but what I will say is that all of the other contestants and the pageant directors, they put us in chats. They are very, very accessible if we have questions. And so they don't give us formal training, but they don't also not give us the tools. They lead us to where we can get more formal training. So okay. I'm lucky in that regard. I like to think, though, a lot of my training just came from life. So it's, I will, though, however, be looking for a proper pageant coach.
Okay. No, I think it's important because like it's very competitive out there.
Very,
it's not just like you're competing to, only the locals, but, you can actually go, international, and you'll never know who are the best bet, and everybody has their own coaches.
Exactly. Yeah. But the great thing about it is that no one seems to want to gatekeep those kind of tools or those benefits. And so a lot of the girls will share coaches. They'll give you makeup artists, videographers, photographers. So it's a really, really, it's a very women empowered and just supported organization. So
okay. So now I have to ask that, quickly, because we're talking about Miss Universe now. So do you have any favorite among, all the beauty pageant contestants you've ever seen?
Oh, yes.
Like not necessarily the pageant, like, those who have become winners.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, in this last year of Miss USA, I grew up watching it. I'm a really big fan of Miss Virginia.
Oh.
She is a woman of color just like me. I think she was amazing. I believe that she placed top 20. So did Miss Illinois currently. Grace Rohde, she did amazing as well. And my all-time favorite would probably be Olivia Culpo. She, just like me, kind of applied on a whim, and she won Rhode Island, then USA, and then she went and won Miss Universe. And she's probably my biggest inspiration to do this because she's already paved the path there. So she's definitely number one.
I think like that's the biggest thing nowadays. Like, they like multicultural. So like, before, like, okay, straight, like, blonde hair, like I think that's much more, welcoming nowadays. For you, so how was competing in beauty pageants influence your views on relationships and love?
I kind of going back to like where we started, I realized that it's not just all about appearances either. I've realized that in order to be able to date someone while trying to build a platform, that's going to put me in a spotlight. So I need to be with a very confident person that can be okay with sharing that spotlight. Especially, I think a lot of men tend to lead in relationships. That's just not going to be the path for whoever I end up with. I mean, I'm going to end up having to have a first gentleman one day to run for president. So he's going to be okay with that. And that's
right.
something that now I can confidently say more. Whereas before I feel like I was a lot shyer to say, I don't need someone to be the breadwinner. I could be the breadwinner, but it's still pretty early to be saying that out loud. But I feel like the more women are doing this, the more it's kind of becoming more normalized.
So what happened to your former classmates when you were in school? Like, what happened when they learned, like, especially the men, what happened? Like, did they actually like, oh, Stacy?
What's so funny about that is my former classmates have all been really supportive. I have a lot of them through social media. And so they've all, to be completely honest, the messages have been very sweet and the outpour of support have been like, well, we always knew you could do this. I'm like, no one told me. In terms of relationships, there's a couple weddings that are supposedly going to get called off, but let's be real. I'm just like, okay, yeah, already. Which like I said, the sash maybe just made it seem a little bit more fun, but I'm like, realistically, I don't think that anything that's behind me is supposed to be for me, or they would have made it this far with me.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Okay. All right. So I wish that we have more time, but anyway, good luck to you with whatever, like, up to what position you're going to be, generating in the future, or like, I'm sure like, if you, just in case that this doesn't work out, I'm sure like you can continue like, applying, because like that, you said there's no limit nowadays.
There isn't,
like,
no.
So that's, you just keep on trying.
There is. Yep. It was either Miss USA or NASA. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's give NASA.
There are many other competitions. It's not just Miss USA. There are many other competitions.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, because like, I'm from the Philippines. There are a lot of beauty titleists in the Philippines, and that's what they do. They try one, they try a next one, they try, and then like, I think like for them, like it's their goal, because like, once they have put their mind in it, like they want to pursue further.
And it's so funny you said that, is as somebody who grew up watching all the pageants under the sun, Philippines, they produce some of the most beautiful women. And I will say this, almost every Miss Philippines from every pageant I've seen, they have a lot of grace. So I completely agree with all of that.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much again for being over here, Stacy. And for those people who are watching, if you are single and wondering how to navigate love, or if you are an expert in love dating, relationship industry, or if you have been successful in your relationships for a long, long time, like maybe 10, 20, 30, or 40, or 50, even much more longer, like I'm sure you have some nuggets to share. We would like to invite you over here. And again, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.